Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alyssa Trahan, for those of you who do not know, but I am an astrologer and I've been around for a long time. Now this is my first real pick a card reading, my first actual prediction on my channel, but I thought the best time to do it would be over the autumn equinox because I could also take some time to explain some really fun things about it that maybe you don't know. So obviously the pagans would celebrate the solstices and the equinoxes. They're all very powerful events because of the shift in seasons. People have asked me a lot, like, Melissa, do you do Vedic astrology or tropical astrology? And I'm a tropical astrologer, and the main reason why is because of the seasons and how tropical astrology is not pointing up at the constellations. We're actually bringing it to the seasons as Aries season starts on the spring equinox and Libra season starts on the autumn equinox. Before we go into it, I do want to say that this video is sponsored by Crystal Constellations. They are the beautiful people who made these incredibly beautiful crystals with your zodiac little guy in there. This is a Scorpio. A Scorpio is one of the signs in our seasons, right? It's one of the signs in autumn. So I thought that this was very fitting. It's also my husband's sign. There is a little zodiac constellation all around it, and it does fit on this beautiful little, this very movable, tiny wooden light. It actually makes a pretty good nightlight, my kids discovered. It's very high quality. This is very heavy. I don't know if you can tell. Like, I'm not good at pretending things are heavy. This one here is Libra. This is my sign. Obviously, this is the first sign of autumn, right after this Virgo changeover into Libra. If you guys are interested in these crystal balls, you can get 20% off. Just go to Crystal Constellations right here. Use the code Alyssa, ALYSSA, and you will get 20% off. If you can't remember that, there is going to be a link down below in the bio. These are incredibly cool. I'm going to get more. My kids really want them, like for night lights, and I like them. I really want all the signs because I'd love to be able to use these in my videos for sure, but they're like, come with a little remote, and I can get them to change their color as well. It's pink. Anyway, so again, thank you to Crystal Constellations, and for anybody who wants 20% off, here we go. Now, in a crystal ball, we have what is shaped like the moon. Okay, now there is that image you've probably seen of the two crescent moons surrounding the actual moon. This is the globe, the Earth, Gaia. Okay, and on each side, one side we have the Maiden, the other side we have the Crone. The Maiden is the young, pure, innocent, wild one, and the Crone is the wise, old one. Gaia is the mother. So the Maiden, the mother, and the Crone. When I feel like you sort of are gazing into a crystal ball, you use your hands as one as wisdom and one as sort of anarchy in a way. And I'm not saying that the Maiden is always anarchy, but she's young, she's beautiful, and she's wild and free. And the Crone may not be able to be as free as she once was, but her mind is free. And so you're using sort of your body to conjure, to understand, and to really focus your intent on Gaia. All of these things, the divine Maiden, the divine mother, and the divine consciousness, the Crone. We could also call them 3 is the Maiden, 6 is Gaia, and 9 is the Crone. So 3, 6, 9. Using them all under together is encapsulated by the divine feminine. This is the 3 parts of the divine feminine goddess head, if you could say. It's the imagery that we get. And so in the autumnal equinox, it's a lot about celebrating these 3 things. The divine feminine is life. So this is what embodies life. So even if you are male, you still embody these characteristics of the Maiden, the mother, and the Crone. And we do that because we all are young, we all get into a place of nurture, and we all get into a place of wisdom.
So, to give you a little bit of in depth information, you see, the first is the maiden, and she is the young one, but she also represents birth. We are born, so we are young and pure and creative and desiring. But then we get a little bit older and we become the mother. We're nurturing, we have patience, we take on responsibility. We also have our own power. It's about learning how to give and receive nourishment, how to take care of ourselves. And lastly, you have the crone, which is death, but it also represents heaven, these great parts of ourselves and the fulfillment and culmination of things, and how with wisdom we end up going with the flow. But we can reach these moments in our life many times over and over again, because life is just a cycle of rejuvenating birth, life, and death.
I have some rosemary I brought. This is in my garden. I have a huge rosemary bush for whatever reason, but I love it. Oh my God. It smells amazing and it tastes good with all food. But rosemary is known to mean love and fidelity. Now, life and love are together. It's a marriage between life and love. Love is no good without life, and life is no good without love. So rosemary, in a way, can be in relation to Venus, to the divine feminine, to all of these. Now, the pentagram is notoriously Venus, but it's also been known to be from Core. A Core, you might know her better by her name of Persephone, who would actually be the maiden. And so in the core, what you call the core of the earth, you could see that maybe you have the core, and then you have Gaia surrounding the core, and then you have the consciousness outside of the core, which would be the crone. So we can also look at it that way. So we have these apples. This is an envy apple, actually. There's a lot of myth and folklore that surround apples. They're not necessarily the exact fruit that was in the tree of knowledge and in the Garden of Eden, but it is actually very interesting. I picked the envy apples because I believe that envy is the root of all sin. For instance, you don't lust after something unless maybe you're envious that you don't have it. You don't get greedy unless you look at something that you want and that you could be like somebody else who has it. Envy sort of seems like the root. Like Adam and Eve envied God's knowledge over them, and so they ate from the tree. The big cool thing about an apple is that when you cut into it like this, it creates a pentagram, right? There's a lot of magic that you can do with apples, with its secret pentagram, the five-pointed star.
Makes an apple so great is it actually represents earth, and you can use it as earth in an altar or in a protection spell. I mean, they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, because it's a blessing for your body and your life. Now, a poison apple is representative of when the crone turns evil and wants to kill the maiden because of jealousy. You see this in Snow White, and it's even the jealousy in Adam and Eve, like I said. But then you have the rotten apple, which is the mother. It's when the mother is neglected or abused and becomes abusive and neglectful through ignorance and blindness. You can look at this like an abandoned garden. It's as if the apple actually really does understand the triple goddess and contains its power inside.
Let's get into the five-pointed star for a little bit, and then we're going to get into this pick a card reading. The pentagram is the five-sided star, and they say the four sides could either be the directions, north, south, east, and west, or what most people come to know it now are air, fire, earth, and water, with the fifth element. Yes, Mila Jovovich is part of the pentagram. What is that fifth element? Now, it's called spirit, but it's also the spirit of life. What exactly is life? In autumn, that's where we get into actually living and existing in life. Venus rules Libra, where we start having to exist with others. Now, you look at Aries through Virgo, the first 6 signs of the zodiac, and we see how these are very selfish signs. But what does that mean when you're selfish? It means you're kind of underground. You're experiencing life on your own terms. You're doing things for you. You're building. And finally, when we get to September and we start reaping what we've sown, haven't sowed anything good, your crop is going to yield nothing. And what happens when you don't have a good crop? You can't put it out into the world, which is where we get into now. So autumn is Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. These are the 3 signs that embody what the autumn of our life is. Basically, we meet, we love, we connect to another person. We then go from there into becoming one, the Scorpio, being with another person, exchanging our actual energy in a physical way, but also in other ways as well. And then we get into the 9th house, Sagittarius, which is a lot about expanding our minds through that. When we really get into winter, with the winter solstice, that's when we're going to get into actually finding our achievement, our rewards for our achievement. This is more like basking in the glory of our achievement on a smaller scale, what it does to us, the glory we feel inside of ourselves, the connection to other people, the fact that people are saying, good job, pat on the back, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to exchange energy with you, I want to learn what you know, I want to teach you things. We can exchange. It's a lot of exchange in autumn. And so if we are alone during this season, it can be really, really depressing because that aloneness is felt a million times more. We're going to be talking about what you're going to be doing during this season of your life in 2019. In these piles, I have the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. You can pick whatever you're sort of drawn to. Are you drawn to this one, the Maiden? Are you drawn to the Mother? Are you drawn to the Crone? Because each one is a different reflection of your life. It's going to take you down a different path. And this is going to show you what your path is in the autumn, what in the fall, in the next few months, what you want to be doing. This is definitely a more psychological reading. During different seasons, different years, we feel like different things. I know I felt like a Maiden, I felt like a Mother, and I felt like a Crone at all different times. I felt like a Crone when I was 12 and a Maiden when I was 30. So you can feel like any of those. But these are different parts of your life. And even if you're a man, you're going to feel either wild, nurturing, or wise. And what season of your life are you in, and how is that going to play out? So feel it on your own. If you feel like when I was talking about this, you're like, I'm a Crone. Like and you're drawn to it, go for it. But if you also just want to reflect and meditate on the cards, you can pause the video, take a second, and do that. So find the timestamps below. If you pick Maiden, I am going to do that first. So I will see you on the flip side. Hi guys, this is your Maiden reading. If you picked the first pile. So the first card we are going to pull is the top one, and I'm going to lay it down. This is work. And this says, I am now available to receive all who can benefit from my work. Use me to relieve suffering on the planet. May all who need me find me. The divine is my complete source for all prosperity and will provide. So this tells me immediately there's going to be work in this season. You've probably had a lot of creative times up until this point, maybe even things that you've been doing mentally in your head, but now it's time for you to get them physical, get them out into the world, have everybody see what you have been dreaming of by actually working. Now, it doesn't mean that you haven't worked before, but if you have and you're tired of work, work is still coming, okay? But work can be a beautiful thing when people are actually paying attention to it, and that's what I feel like is happening with this card. Now, I'm going to pull these 3 cards. This is what came before, this is what is now, and this is what will be in the future. Now, I've pulled them all reversed. You have a reverse 7 of Cups, a reverse Magician, and a reverse 4 of Wands. Okay, so right away I see that this work, it pertains to the reverse Magician. The reverse Magician to me is not a bad archetype. It just means that you can't snap your fingers and make things happen right now. In this autumn, you are going to be working so it all kind of adds up here. But there's something that's kind of sad about this, and the reason why there's obviously a block. These 3 are all reversed, but the block seems to come from the fact that you've definitely been following your divine purpose. You are in tune. You are in tune with the world. You are like the maiden. You are sitting at the feet of the vine and you're trying to listen. You're trying to do your best. You're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, where you want to go in the world, and you're aligning yourself with that, but it's not being that rewarding. So you would love to hear from me right now. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, guess what? Something really good is going to happen in autumn. And it is. I can already tell. It's a feeling I get, but there's a blockage. The blockage that I don't believe you believe in yourself, probably. You're following this divine code, this divine cause, but nobody is really saying you're doing a good job, like this is a good thing that you should be doing, and you're starting to feel wary of it, and you're thinking that maybe you're dumb and you made the wrong decision to follow that. And if that's the case, I believe with this, it's like, no, it's just because right now it's not magical for you, because right now nobody's doing it that way. Right now you are being special. You're being different. You're following your wild course, your wild nature, and it might not feel like it's like wild and anarchy, but it is in some way anarchy as opposed to what has been allowed to happen in the universe up until this point, the energies that have been allowed to go places. So in the future, you have the reverse Four of Wands, which by the time that you've worked through this autumn season, this will be about your stability in this chaos that might be surrounding you right now. And it's actually very interesting because if this was upright, it would be sort of like like kind of like the magician, like just like good news, like this is coming. So I also feel like that this is all good news. This is all optimistic. It's all good, but you're gonna have to put more effort and more work than maybe you were even thinking that would be nice at this moment. And that's kind of frustrating for you. So there's more coming, but you know that there are good things. You are going to get the stability and the chaos in this next season of your life, and it's going to be good. It really will be. It's just not magic. And I think that's okay. And I think that we're waiting for like a night, like a white knight to come and save us, like magic, but sometimes it's just about you saving yourself, and that's what you've been doing. And this is going to be very fruitful for you. You're reaping some really good fruit, basically. You just don't know that you are because you've had to work so hard to do it in the first place. So it doesn't seem like, oh, that's all I got for all that. Wow, okay. That's what I'm really feeling from this. And so I do have an angel message for you. Is the beloved one. Archangel Chamuel, I am helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship, which is actually kind of interesting because I don't see love, and there's not a lot of even time for love. And so when I see that, and even sometimes soulmate doesn't trigger total love for me. Sometimes soulmate triggers love for yourself, bringing in yourself. So I can kind of see that maybe this will be a more isolated time for you. You will be working a lot. You will be just trying to get something that's yours. And I want you to know that it will benefit you. And it looks like what's happening is that you're getting in touch with who you were truly meant to be. Your physical body is reflecting the soul that resides in it. You are connecting to your truest, highest self. And with that, you will be able to ascend up to the highest peaks. You just have to walk up yourself. And once you do that, that's where you are really allowed to be proud of yourself, because you've worked and you've achieved and you've tried and you failed. But in the end, you have yourself. I think that's very powerful. So I have these two other cards here, and these are what I just pulled out, archetype cards, major arcana. Just shuffled that deck and added this in here. So what I have for you is the High Priestess and the World. And fuck if that's not good. Sorry guys, if you don't know me, sometimes I say fuck. This is amazing. This is what I wanted to see. I was kind of like feeling something for a second. Sometimes I just really feel. I bring in a lot of feelings, no big deal. So I was feeling sadness, like, shit. You've been working so hard. You have been. And it's okay. Like, I hope you know that when you're working this hard, take some time out, rest. You don't just have to grind. Sometimes, like, enjoy your life and celebrate the little victories, because you'll miss out on this. And I know that it's hard, and I know that you might not look back at this point in your life and be like, wow, shit, I really enjoyed it. And that happened. I'm not crying, you're crying. So when you get to the end, you will not regret it. I'll cut this out. The high priestess is like the first part of life. And like I said, there's no magic. There's no one. There's no magician. He's not coming for you. But the high priestess doesn't care. Because the high priestess has all of the wisdom, all of the power. She's got the two. She is reflected by the primordial god chaos. She understands life, maybe not in the physical realm, because the more physical you get, the more we get into chains, right? And so total chaos, total anarchy will respect the body you live in, but it also desires something more than what your body tells you can do. And with that, you can transmute those qualities on your own through your hard work. I mean, I see that this is making you more beautiful, more handsome, more respected, more loved, and maybe you don't see it yet, but your body is changing to reflect your insides. And so do things for yourself to reflect that. I'm also seeing that you will have everything serving you. Some people, I don't know if whenever you think about the world card, but I've studied it and painted it, and that card is about your life. Surrounded by the things that you need. You have the calf, you have nourishment, you have the man who brings you love and water, like the water bearer, and then you have the lion who will fight for you, and the eagle who will swoop above and protect you. And basically you can be naked, you can be true to yourself, because the spirits around you are fighting for you. You are power. That's when you are centered and you are all power on your own. Not because somebody else is reflective of this. Not because you're sending out your husband to go fight for you and your lawyer to go protect you, whatever it is, backwards, I don't know. It's because it's you. You walk into a room and these archetypes are surrounding you, fighting for you. This is what you're creating. And these are already here. This is not the end game. These archetypes are what you're building, but they're also here for you. So, High Priestess, utilizing your gifts and your wisdom and your understanding of this life to make it better for everybody. I mean, this is in the very first part, use me to relieve suffering on the planet. Why are you working so hard to make your life better, but then to help other people make their life better too? And that is beauty, and that is what I'm seeing here. And if you've pulled this deck, I just know that you are working your ass off to be true to you, and that's what matters, and nothing else does. And you are allowed to get rid of those noises in your head that are telling you you're doing the wrong thing. You're on the right path. Everything's gonna be okay, but you just have to keep working. And if you can, turn these cards, I mean, right side up. I said, can you put these cards right side up? It's just a block. Release the block and be your own magic. And I think that that's the power in this. It's not all frustrating. And that is your reading for pile number 1, the Maiden. And I will see you guys later. Hi guys. This is for pile number 2, I would say number 6, Gaia. This is your Earth Mother pile. So if you pulled this one, let's get into it. The first card I'm going to pull and kind of lead over everything is this creative blocks card. Okay, so it seems like what you're coming into your creative blocks. If you are an artist of any kind, you can offer all work to the divine, making it God's alone. I offer this for the highest good to benefit the planet. Release me from my blocks and restrictions. May this serve all who need. In this season of your life, you are trying to get things out into the world. I know that you have it inside of you. You know you do. You have the power of yourself already, but you can't find it. It's just stuck. You don't know what you're doing wrong. You don't know where you're going. You're trying to meditate, possibly. Maybe you don't have time to do all these things. Whatever it is, there's a blockage and it's blocking every aspect of your life, and maybe you're just feeling stagnant or like you're on the wrong track, or that maybe there's just something wrong with you and there's not. So I'm going to pull these next cards, see what they align, just to do a little beginning, center, and end for you here. Okay, so you actually have two major arcana cards in here, which is pretty strong. One of them is reversed, and so I see where you're coming from. You have the reversed Tower, and this could be like you faced chaos in the past, but you sort of resisted it. You wanted really hard. You didn't want your normal life maybe, but you also weren't going to take that big risk, or maybe you weren't going to allow the change to just come into your life. And as much as we all say we really want the universe to work through us and we're just going to go with the flow of divine and the God and like follow all that, sometimes we resist it. We resist it because it fucks up our status quo. Sorry, I swear sometimes for those who are new to my channel. And we don't know where we're supposed to go with it, and so we just don't follow it down. And sometimes it's easier not to go with the flow. It just is, and that's what it's really looking like that you have done. And at this moment in time, I have the High Priestess. I feel like there's a disconnect with your actual ability to give life into the world because of this change that you've resisted. But what's coming is the Five of Swords. What that can mean, 5 is change. And this can be in your work or in the things that you do. If you stay at home, I mean, obviously, just because you pulled the second card, second pile, doesn't mean that you are a mother. It just means maybe you're in the mother stage of your life, or you're drawn to the second pile, you're drawn to the earth energy. And it sounds like there's now has to be a large change, a big upheaval. Some problem will occur because of this. The only thing that this is good. And I'm not reading it as bad at all, because you resisted the Tower, so now there's going to be a problem. But you have the High Priestess in the center, which does say that you're holding it down. You're holding it down, and it might be you. It might be you who does it. You might be the one to change everything. Because I think you were like, maybe you couldn't. Sometimes the universe, like, really honestly, like, it will come down at you, and you're like, I wish I could do this right now, but you have no idea I'm taking care of these things that doesn't allow me to just get rid of them. You just can't do it all the time like that. And so you hold on to it, and we are given the free will to be able to do that. And so what I feel here is that you've reached a point where you're like, you know what? I can do it now. I'm ready. It wasn't time for me before, but it's time for me right now, and I'm feeling it. I am content. I am at ease. I understand. Maybe there's even an enlightened part of you here, and you're ready. You're ready to cause chaos. So now this is a general reading, so it might not be you being ready. And so maybe what I want to tell you here is that if you're not ready, get ready, because it might happen whether you not want to or not. That is the other part about the universe. It will try. If you resist, it will try again. And so in this now card, if you can, if you're not there, find your peace, find your zen. Find your ability to know that maybe you don't actually like where you're at. Like, yes, change will be scary. Change may end up in failure. But of course, nothing ever is a total failure unless you stop after that, right? And so that's what this is like always saying. It's like, in order to change your life, you might fail a couple times, but not in the end. It's not the end until it's the end and you're happy, right? You don't have to run back home. And I think that this is what it wants you to do. You want to be stable. Find your stability and your peace within yourself, knowing that you want and desire chaos and change, because your life is blocking you up and you're not who you were meant to be, and you're not happy. Maybe you feel like you are at times, but are those times few and far between? Or maybe are they forced? Maybe are they just, I'm happy every time I get home and watch The Office, and then I have to go to sleep and go to the office, or whatever it might be. There's always going to be those moments where you might be wondering, what if I did this instead? And this is what is happening here. It wants you to go do that instead. And so that's where the upheaval is coming. So I'm letting you know, I think that that's what this reading wants you to know the most. That's coming whether or not you're ready or not. Are you going to whether or not you're ready or not, do you want to resist again? Resist the tower? Because there's something else, and I see like the creative blocks come when you resist the tower. We don't think that that's true. Like, oh, the tower's coming, I'm holding myself together, but you're ultimately not allowing yourself to be cleansed and purified, and there you're eventually slowly falling apart. You can't glue the tower back together while it's being burned alive. Sometimes you just got to go with it. It can actually affect you physically as well, which physical sicknesses, illnesses, problems can cause blockages inside of you. And other great things like weight gain and mental blocks and being tired, looking for drugs, something like that. Any of those can happen when this is going on. So I know that it's saying like it wants you to be free. And that's what I'm really feeling here. And so in order to help you is this angel card, and this is prosperity. Your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. And that is a good sign, obviously. You're not going to lose it all. No matter what comes, you're not going to lose it all. You got to have faith, though. Like, you got to have faith in the cards. Like, if you're listening to this card, you already have a little bit of faith. Maybe you just have some hope that something can be better. But the universe wants you to do this so bad, it's not going to make you homeless. It's not going to get rid of everything. You might have to cut back on certain things, but you will be provided for materially no matter what you have to do. Even if that means that you're getting harassed at work and you have to quit. Even if that means, you're working and your kids are in daycare and you're wondering what would happen if you took off work and just stay at home with your kids. Would you be able to handle that? Stuff like that. There's a lot of different things here that I'm feeling. And again, it's general reading, but if that some kind of idea, like a metaphor for that, aligns with you, it's letting you know that you're okay to take the risk. It's going to be okay. They maybe even know, like, yeah, it wasn't good before. I know this is causing you problems now, but you couldn't do it before, but you can now. It's going to be okay. You maybe found your window of opportunity to go through right now at this moment. And now I have this other thing. I only shuffled Major Arcana cards. You already have 2 Major Arcana cards, which does tell me already that there are huge changes in your life happening. There are a lot of powerful figures going in and out. And that can even mean that there might be something good happening for you. So that's unexpected, which I'm telling you this is going to happen. Let's see if there's something else. I have the Magician and the Moon. So bitch, oh sorry. I feel like I shouldn't swear during tarot readings, even though I do my astrology readings all the time. I would say expect the unexpected. There's something in here. I know that it's coming, and I'm telling you it's coming. These archetypes are big. They're together like this. The moon, oh my gosh, and this moon, she's crazy. Not only, she's streaking. Like in this picture, that is a streaking moon. And this Magician is a scary, scary beast, but they're making me feel like good for you. I mean, I like how she's like basically naked streaking over this crab that's going to pinch her in the, I mean, sometimes the cards just speak to you more than the actual archetypes do, but or the actual Major Arcana would, with the knowledge of it. And these are really speaking to me. I almost feel like she's running with like crazy. It's like Moon is crazy and she's running and she looks crazy, but she's got a purpose. And she shed everything because she's going to meet this Magician. Put it like this. She's running to meet the Magician, and she's going to get him. She's going to land him. And when the Magician comes, that's what they call transmutation up in this world. That's what you call like just magic. You weren't expecting it at all. And even me reading this, I can't tell you what it is. I don't know. It's just exciting because I know that there's a problem, but I think that the problem isn't necessarily even related to this. But I think what this is saying is if you don't leave what you're at, like shed the baggage, if you're not this moon, she does have a little bit, no, I thought it was a purse. It's a bow and arrow. She's ready to go. If you're not ready to go, it will be hard. It will be. So maybe you have to reach this point of these, the Five of Swords. There's like there's fighting with words, with issues. Sometimes it can just mean that like you're being attacked with verbal abuse or something because you did something that people don't agree with. And that can be really hard, and it's not going to be easy. And maybe that's why this High Priestess, to keep you wise and in tune, and maybe even outside of your body a little bit, so that you aren't so painfully hurt when these things happen. Because when it comes time to, you're going to hit your body and you're going to hit the ground running to the magic that awaits you. This prosperity, which the prosperity is going to relieve you of what aligns you right now of creative blocks. So I believe the winter of your life, if you let go of all these things, is going to be great. It's setting you up for this greatness, this power, this love, and action. Something that you don't know. And I mean, it's kind of bringing me this moment. I'll just tell you, and I think this is Candace, that when I had my second child, I really had some very bad postpartum depression, and I couldn't do anything. And I was working a lot, trying to make something of value, but it was very hard to find any value in myself or what I was doing. And I eventually just hit the ground like I guess my life is now, that I'm going to be an overweight mother. That's who I am, and I should just be okay with that. And I never thought, I was 31, that my life could change at all. I really had 31 and a half. I'm old now. It's my life. And I broke down for a couple years, and now I feel younger than I ever have in my lifetime. And that's what I'm kind of feeling here for you, is it's something similar. You don't think that your life can change. You think you're at the end of it, but you're not. You're in the thick of it, man. You're living it. Live it better. And that's what I'm getting here for you, is that there's just a need for you to live your life better. And the universe believes in you, and it wants your gifts. And so it's waiting for you to shed the shit and just to get out there and live your life better and be happier and be truer to yourself, and not to just say, well, I guess this is what I do now, because it's not. You have time. If you're 80 years old, you still have time. If you're 20 years old, you very obviously have time. If you're my age, you're in your 30s, you have fucking time. We all have time. We don't realize that sometimes because we just feel so downtrodden and blocked, and it just seems like nothing good is going to happen from this, but it will. And this is what this is saying. You just got to be willing to face the adversity of what your next choices are. So find your peace and your inner wisdom, because you have it. It's in there. Don't try to create yet. Channel divine energy. Try to do that first. Clear yourself out. Be ready for the creative power of you to unleash onto the world. And that, I believe, is going to come in the winter of your life. But this is all about becoming and laying down your own new rules. And that is pile number 2 for the mother. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you later. Hi guys, this is for you if you picked pile number 3 or the Crone, which is more related to the number 9 and the divine consciousness. So if this is what you chose, then let us get into it. First card I'm going to pull is this one. What does it say? Money. Oh, hey, honey. We got money, honey. All my finances are now in divine order. Love itself knows my needs and is the source for all. I needn't cling to gain or fear or loss. Every need will be met through offering all to the divine. So this is it's a good card, but it also has a little part to it, which is basically your money is not yours. Materialism doesn't belong to you, although you're allowed to have it. And so if you're, say, in a position you're like, oh, Alyssa, I don't got money, right? This is about gaining it through releasing your attachment to needing it. Obviously, we have a system in the Western world. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I mean, I do know in some places like this. But that money is rewarded, and when you are broke, you're a criminal, because if you don't pay a bill on time, you can be sued. You can go to jail. So it's not okay to be broke. It's considered against the law to not have money. So you think about that, because that affects you. it puts a lot of fear onto people that if they don't have enough money, they're a bad person. Not just a bad person, but they're a person who could go to jail. They could have to spend out more money that they don't have in court to fight big businesses that have way more money than this person's ever seen in their life. And so what I see here is that money is going to be okay in this part of your life. But you do have to release your attachment from it, which is about releasing fear of you not having it. And that's the feeling I'm getting from this. I haven't looked at these other cards, but that's definitely what is channeling from this, is that money can't be your end-all be-all, because then you won't live by love. And if you are in the Crone part of your life, you're in the wisdom part, and this is divine wisdom, like understanding the greater reality of who you are and that you are loved even if you have nothing. So I do have some cards here to pull. The first, I'm going to do a little what came before, what is now, and in the future. So came before, we have the Knight of Pentacles, what is now, reversed Five of Cups or Five of Chalices, and the upright Nine of Wands. So you have two Knight cards, which is, there's a lot of ambition with extra Knight cards, and you have it in Pentacles and Fire, so Earth and Fire, which really tells me that this does add to you have a big desire for money. Okay, now this isn't reckless, like the Wands and the Pentacles together, not reckless, but this is, it looks like there needs to be a shift here, okay? That you've come from this desire and this need for money. You're going to go through some transmutation that's in this physical realm, and then you'll come out the Knight of Wands. And what that's telling me is there's like a no more counting dollars, we'll be counting stars. You need to count stars. No money. Like money is handed to you. Like releasing your detachment and moving into a position where you are sort of free and on your own. What's in between can be a little bit devastating, but it's going to be something that will get you into a better position. I'm really getting like the Knight of Pentacles can mean, literally like fortune hunter, like going out to get and to achieve and to have more and more and more. Not always greedy, but the fact is the reverse Five of Cups or Chalices is here. This is definitely like grieving the loss of something. There's pain here. The Five of Cups genuinely is missing something. When it's upright, there's something that's looking into the future, but it's missing what they already have. It's looking back at what it's lost, but it's definitely missing what it's had, that it already holds on to. But in this case, it looks like there's a huge loss. And it can be like a financial loss, or it can be a bad loss, something that you really have worked really hard for, and it comes into a crisis. And this is your now card, which means that if this isn't necessarily happening right at this moment, it's maybe something you're even in the thick of, and that could be why the money was pulled first. If you're gonna be okay no matter what happens, and even if you feel like this might have been your biggest failure, it's not. The Knight of Wands itself can also mean a change of residence, and so I feel like that's kind of a big deal for you, that yes, there is, you're counting stars now, okay, and I want you to do that. Sometimes that can mean, living lighter. Maybe the financial loss has it's just going to require that you move some things around, if that's what it is. Obviously, this is a general reading. It's not always just that, but there's a loss of something that you were trying to achieve is no longer right there in there for you, and you're meant to get back to who you really were, back to your roots. And if that means lightening your load by leaving a place you can't afford, or moving from a situation that just isn't right for you, whatever it is, you're going to cut your losses. And that's what the end of this is about. This is about you possibly on the wrong track. Your train was going one direction and it hit the wall because it's not the direction it was supposed to go. So everything was gone, and you found yourself just trying to figure out what. And I don't know what place in your life it is. The fact that I did pull money, I want to believe that everybody it's about money. I know money can be just the root of everything, but something telling me that for everybody pulling this one, it's not just money. It could be the things that happen even because you lose money, like relationship breakups, issues with seeing your children. Maybe you felt like you were on a good route in your career and then now you're just not. And so there's just this, it's a freedom that you almost don't want because you were looking and holding so tightly to all the work you put into something that should have worked out and it didn't. And if you're reaching that point right now too, you're like, I just feel like it's a good omen for you, as this is like the wise pile here. This is the pile of wisdom. You've just lost a little bit of your own wisdom, and you have to realign that to know what you truly desire is not straight money. It's not just attention or status. It's your own personal glory, and to move in that direction and to cut your losses and move forward. So I have this angel card to see it to add any sort of guidance to it. And it's teaching and learning. Archangel Zadkiel, keep an open mind and learn new ideas, then teach these ideas to others. So if this is a course in wisdom, which it seems like definitely is a course in this divine understanding of who you are, you're learning these things so that you can really show other people how it's made your life better. So when we look at anybody's life, somebody who's the best teacher of how to keep your money is somebody who lost all their money and is now really rich. That's the person you want to listen to, right? And so in any situation that you're going through, you're going to get something out of this. Something like through your loss, you're going to make a new career from it. And something that I'm feeling just from looking at that and probably channeling it from this whole thing, it just seems like there's a lot coming to you because of your failure. It's not your failure. It's like a failure that was put on you so that you could pick up the pieces and tell others how to do that. And that's what I really feel like is happening. And this last little deck, I pulled only major arcana cards because I wanted to see the archetypes that were sort of following you around in this season, this coming up. And what I have are justice and strength. And so what I see here is thy kingdom come, thy will be done, not to quote that, but that's what it feels like to me. I like this deck for its creepy pictures. So through force and of your own will, riding the lion. Like this woman is naked riding a lion, and that's what I really feel like. This is your own naked ambition into your own brutal strength and honesty and truth and force. You will conquer the lion and ride the lion out into your life, meaning that all of this is making you stronger so that justice can be served. And it's not against you. It might be against those who have hurt you, who have wronged you. There might be a part of you in this, if you pick this pile, that you just want to show people what you got because no one's believed in you, and you were going to get that. And I think that can be an epic failure, like a feeling of failure, more so than even losing stuff. Like sometimes you lose stuff and you're like, I don't even care about it. It's the fact that everyone said I couldn't do it, and then they were right, even though I really, really believed. And so sometimes I feel like it's that, and it brings pain, and it's like, you know what? People aren't allowed to say anything about what you do. They don't know you. They're in their own life. The only reason people judge anybody is because their life sucks. Okay? There's a difference between observing, because we all observe people and we all jump to conclusions. But when someone is like straight out telling you or making you feel like you're just doing it wrong, like, oh my God, screw them. And so that's why I feel like justice is being served to those people once you are capable of showing your brutal strength through the pain, because you are doing it right. Like there's a part that is like you were on the wrong track, but your mind was okay. Your mind was sound. You were choosing correctly. It was just that the track that you were on limited your resources, limited your mobility of your true self. And so it had to derail to get you utilizing correctly on the right track. So that's like a lot of what I'm seeing. So it's going to show you like how do you utilize yourself better? How do you become aware of yourself? Because you do have to be aware of yourself. You're supposed to be in this position in your life where you're so you're understanding and you know what's going on. You already know what to do. You've gone through the ringer. You've worked your ass off. You've done all these things or whatever. You feel like you've been through it. And here you're going through it again in some way. Now it's time for you to know that it was just because it was just directed wrong. The universe didn't like it. Not because it was mad at you and it hates you. It was just like, no, that's not right for you. You don't know. You need to get your knowledge and let it submit to your wisdom. And sometimes you can't do that until you've faced a loss. And whenever there's a big loss in general, there's that saying like this too shall pass, and I don't think that that's fair in certain places because sometimes it won't pass until you acknowledge that you needed it. And that's a feeling that I'm getting. And I know maybe that kind of sounds a little bit harsh, but that's what I'm seeing. There's just a direction that you don't realize your brain is at. And even in this card, it doesn't say it, but I got like rewiring in my head when I looked at it. Like there's a rewiring of you where you need to go that couldn't be done because you have a lot of strength. You have a lot of force. You have a lot of power. So you feel like I can do anything I put my mind to it. But what if it's not right? What if it wasn't what you wanted? What if you're so focused in on ramming your head into the door that you didn't realize it? There was an open back door you could have easily just walked out of. And that's what you're trying to find here. And through that, you'll be able to show everybody everything. And you will get the material life that you want when you let go of it as your full force. And you will get the love that you want when you let go of it as what you need. You don't need anything but you. You alone are good. You alone are loved. You know what to do when you silence all the other words. And in a way, I feel like this is just trying to tell you, it's okay, just feel it. Feel the pain so that you can bring forth the truth to the world through your pain, through your hurt. Don't gloss over it because then you might just get back on the wrong train again. And I just think that's kind of something that's just stopping you right now. And yeah, that is it. I will add, I don't want to end on that note because I have mentioned this a few times, like good things are happening. You will get what you want when your focus shifts. And that's what I'm doing for you. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.